So let's talk about Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning. First, the original game Kingdoms of Amalur came out a long time ago. I'm probably going to say around at least 10 years ago. And I played it. I enjoyed it at the time, but I thought it was okay. And it was a very long time since the last time I played it. So I decided on the Switch about a month or so ago, because it was on sale, Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll buy it. So I did. And I was playing it, and I was like, yeah. And then I started remembering why I put the game down. So I put a good 20-ish hours in really playing it, and I came to realize that there were some serious flaws. So, first, I will start with some good things about the game. One, the gameplay is fluid, it is very easy to move around and dodge and everything, but I will go into the downsides after. But second thing, the story was written by R.A. Salvatore, and he's the author of The Legend of Drizzt. And if you haven't read those series, they are really, it's an enjoyable series. He used to be up really, really high on my list of uh, writers and authors, and I had pretty much read most of his Legend of Drizzt series, but um, I didn't really pick up too much outside of that series. But he's a decent author. The game is set with a lot of Irish mythology, which is neat because not too many people actually do that. Usually it's Greek or Roman mythology that tends to be the biggest one. Sometimes you see Japanese, but that's usually by Japanese developers. This was an American team. Um, Graphics for the time were really good. Now they are looking a bit dated, but then again, the game did come out about 10 years ago. Now, my problems are pretty widefold, and that noise in the background is my youngest. He's up right now, even though it's 6 in the morning and everybody else is asleep. Um, Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning. The problems. I guess I'll start right off the bat. Uh, Combat is boring. It gets very, very repetitive, very fast, and it's the same. Even if you change your weapons around, it just changes your attack pattern a little bit, and it doesn't really do that much. The second thing is that the leveling up is, as much as I love skill trees, this is one of the more boring skill trees that I've gone through. You choose your abilities once every level, and those are usually for like the crafting or like your ability to detect hidden items. And blacksmithing is the best one just because you can make some incredibly powerful weapons that will make a world of difference. But the downside is that the crafting is also very boring. So even if you max it out to get yourself the best weapon, there's no skill put into it other than once you get that, your ability maxed out. And then secondly, um the skill tree itself is boring. There you go through it and there's not that much you can do other than do you want to be more of a warrior, a thief, or a mage? And your abilities are not really that much for changing combat around. Like for a game that's so heavily combat focused, there's very little change in the combat, even with new skills. And some of these skills are passive, so you use part of your mana pool to keep up like your poisoned weapons or a shield so enemies do less damage. But it doesn't, nothing really feels like it changes. Even when you get to new areas and explore different areas, there's it's just that's my problem. It gets very boring because not much changes. The quest lines are your standard fetch quest or go here, kill that, and they That's it. You go through, you find different towns. You can sometimes upgrade your weapons, sometimes do this or that in different towns. But it doesn't really make much of a difference. I mean, if you're good at dodging, you don't need to heal. Adding fire damage or fire shield to stuff isn't that important because if you're not getting hit by enemies by dodging them or blocking, doesn't really make much of a difference. The named armors don't really. Once you get your blacksmithing up high enough and you're getting good drops from enemies that you can deconstruct to build new ones, you don't need named armor, so you don't have to search for them. The only reason to find the lore stones is because you're trying to gain those permanent stat boosts that don't really change all that much. Um, I can see why the game didn't get a sequel and that the company went bankrupt, which is sad. I know another company got the rights to the game and then did the Re-Reckoning release, but even with that, the game has a lot of flaws that the easiest way to fix would have been to just try to make it so it felt different, adding a little bit more difference to it. Because I guess the best way to describe it is the combat is similar to like Fable, um, action style RPGs. Maybe they were taking a lesson from God of War at the time. I don't really remember what came out first, but it was okay. And ultimately, I'm gonna say it's like a 6 out of 10. It's fun. It's very repetitive. If it's on sale and you're looking for a fun game that's gonna be a time sink, I would say get it. But otherwise, I would say you could probably pass on it. It's okay, but not great. Um, so, uh, like, comment, and subscribe, I guess. I'll see you guys next time.